Hey friends, I think this information I'm about to give you is really helpful. It's so helpful to understand what's going on because so many times we get into this place when our body changes or we're having these negative thought loops and we think it's our fault, that we just need to be more disciplined, right? Or we need to kick ourselves in the butt or be more motivated. And yes, there are those components. But here's the deal. I've spent years in the self-help world, right? Just being so intrigued with both the human body and the human brain. And following one path and then turning around and following a different path. Being a student of this field, but also a participant, right? Because the things like I found that a lot of us that nerd out and like get into an expertise is because it's something that we struggled with. So for a long time, I struggled with just not feeling good. I knew I should. I was exercising. I had a pretty clean diet. I drank only water or herbal tea. And yeah, my degrees are in counseling. I was in therapy. And so I felt like I was doing all of the things. But why? Why did I not have energy? Why was I fatigued all the time? Even when I was in college running cross country, right? College athlete. And I still felt fatigued. And I would go to the doctor like, hey, I'm going to bed, getting 9 hours of sleep, exercising, eating. Why do I feel tired all the time? And then they were just like, you have low iron, you need some more B, right? It didn't help. So then I went through all my 20s, still looking for an answer. Got into my 30s, started dealing with infertility, right? Still feeling the same way. And it just did not make sense to me. And finally, after just years of searching and working on my mental health, getting to a place where I can manage my brain, manage my emotions, and finding Dr. Carmen, and then us teaming up as business owners, co-business owners, it started to make sense. Especially when we were doing recording a podcast. It's episode 52 for Thrive and Align Healing if you want to check out our podcast. And we were talking about serotonin. And she was saying, Dr. Carmen was saying, that you have to have adequate amount of serotonin to have self-confidence and to be rejection resilient. And the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh, that is why for years I really struggled. I felt confident, but there was areas that I didn't, like when it came to risking failure. I did not feel confident in myself. I was terrified of failure and terrified of rejection. To be honest with you, I would self-sabotage in a lot of areas of my life to avoid failure and avoid rejection because it felt so painful when I was rejected or if I did fail. It was just like such a huge setback in my life. And when she said that statement, I automatically went to the greats that I study. Like I study all these multimillionaires, billionaires, like what makes them different than the rest of us? What do they have that the average person just hasn't got? And it made sense in that moment. The Elon Musk of the world have probably adequate serotonin and dopamine. Dopamine's required to be motivated, right? You need motivation to go after things. He probably has a balanced level of serotonin. So even though he faces rejection, it doesn't sting as bad. It doesn't set him back. It's painful, and then he moves forward. Where a lot of us, that rejection and that failure just really takes the wind out of our sail, and it sets us back, not just one step, but 15 to 20. Or it keeps us paralyzed in our life, stuck, doing the same thing over and over and hoping for different results. And it clicked for me. I knew for years, because working with Carmen, I had learned that I did not have good gut health. And good gut health is required to have adequate amount of serotonin. 60% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. And it just made sense. Like from practitioner, her and my perspective, we should be addressing helping people from a holistic perspective. Spending time in the therapy world as a client and a practitioner, I found that I could only work on mindset so much. I could clean up all these shitty beliefs, these really negative thought loops, which, by the way, I want to side note, negative thoughts from a scientific perspective create an acidic environment in our bodies. Our thoughts impact our physical health. It impacts our physiology. And positive thoughts create more of an alkaline environment in our body. It again impacts our physiology. So in therapy and counseling or coaching, I was working on these thoughts. I was processing the past in therapy. And in coaching, I was working on creating new beliefs, letting go of these limiting beliefs, creating new beliefs for myself that serve me, helping me move from here to there. But it was like slow progress, right? And when we talked about that, I was like, oh, I don't have enough serotonin and dopamine to support new neural pathways being made. So neural pathways are just thoughts and belief pathways. Like our brain is like a super highway. It creates neural pathways that thoughts and beliefs fall into. Makes it easy to access. And in coaching, that's what we do, is we create new neural pathways. And if I don't have enough neurochemicals to support that, the progress is slow. And then if you look on the flip side from the conventional medicine perspective, psychiatry, MDs, when they're giving us anti-anxiety, antidepressant medicine, they are doing symptom management. There's something physiologically going on with us that's creating the anxiety and the depression. So they're trying to balance out those neurotransmitters for us. However, it's not getting to the root cause of why they're imbalanced in the first place, right? So then you just kind of have to be on those lifelong, and most of us won't be. We'll be on them until we feel better, and then we want off. And so, yes, putting me on meds helped with symptom management. However, I was still circulating these shitty thoughts and beliefs, creating an acidic environment in my body. So I was reinforcing this negative loop. And that's why it made sense. Why are we not approaching coaching therapy from a holistic perspective? We have to deal with the body that the brain is in. We have to do the biology, right? And the chemistry to support the thoughts and the beliefs that we want to create. We have to have good thoughts and beliefs to support the body to have a good positive environment. It just totally makes sense. So in this realization, I was like, let's do it. I'm not getting any better. Let's do this neurotransmitter hormone panel on me. So this is what this video is for, you guys. Sorry, my intro was a little long, but I think it's important to understand the why I'm so passionate about this, why I believe this is how we should be approaching the therapy and coaching world, and why our program is so unique. You will not find this program anywhere. And I think that this is going to be, I believe this is truly how we empower each of you to create the results you want in your life. You want to achieve goals. You want to feel better. You want to have more energy, right? You want to feel good. You want to have purpose in your life. You want to have good relationships, make more money, have a career that is satisfying to you, right? To be healthy. Like, we want good lives. And this, I believe, is the way to get there. The most fast and effective way to get there. So let's jump into my panels then, okay? This is a urine saliva test, right? So you'll get the kit in. And my hormone report is based on my saliva. And I'm really excited because I went to my OBGYN yesterday and I took this with me. And she was like over the moon excited to see like the legitimacy of these tests, that they have specific dates when you take it in your cycle as women, specific times. So it's not just one glimpse of time of where my hormones are, because as we know, women's hormones are up and down depending on the day, depending on the time. But this really got a better glimpse of what was going on. So you can see in mine, I'll try to get all my stuff out of here, that there are certain times that I have to take this and a certain date. And then based on that, it gives me a, if I can tell where it's normal there. Okay, an estrone, an estradiol. The estradiol is what they test when you go to your OBGYN and you request a hormone panel. That's blood. That tells you whether you're pregnant or not. That's the hormone for it. Okay, and then we have estrol. This one then dives into my E3, E1, E2 ratio, my progesterone to my E2 ratio, my testosterone, and my DHEA. The green lines mean it's low. And if you go into the paragraph down here, based on my progesterone and my E2 ratio, you can see the blue. Where's my finger? Right there. That I'm low, and it describes down here that I'm in estrogen dominance. What does estrogen dominance mean? I love this little handout. Estrogen dominance. Okay, here we go. There we go. Estrogen dominance does not mean I have an excess of estrogen. It means I'm low on progesterone, right? And it's causing all of these. It can be, the symptoms can be fibrosis, all of these symptoms here. Fibrocystic breast, foggy thinking, migraines, ovarian cysts, water retention, limp, low thyroid symptoms, belly weight, tearfulness, etc. Okay? For me, it was infertility, anxiety, depression, and acne. And as CrossFitters, a lot of times we fly under the radar for estrogen dominance. Why? Okay, this is why my OBGYNs never caught it. This is why my infertility doctor never caught it. Okay? I have been estrogen dominant since my first period, more than likely, because that's when I started getting anxiety. I got depression. So my symptoms have been around for a long time. So in estrogen dominance, in my younger years, I had not enough progesterone. So I had an excess of estrogen. But because I'm an athlete and I work out, my body gets rid of the extra estrogen. So I wasn't having these traditional symptoms like really heavy bleeding, severe cramping, right? Like unusual periods. Like it looked pretty normal. And that's because working out was burning that extra estrogen. Now at 40, my estrogen level has dropped a little. And so it's showing symptoms. I was starting to get night sweats, and I was getting PMS, and my period was getting shorter in my cycles. And that's when we were like, I think that this may be estrogen dominance. And then Carmen figured out, like, oh my gosh, you've been flying under the radar because you get rid of your extra estrogen by working out so much. That's why we never caught it. And so this is an issue. Why is it an issue? Because it makes us more susceptible to cancer, to be in estrogen dominance. It makes some of us have the inability to have kids. It creates mood swings. It creates thinking, like you can't even think clearly, right? Like your brain, your ability to have your own thoughts is not really there because it's so masked with this hormone, because our hormones impact the way our brain operates, it impacts the way we think. We have a tendency then to have a negative slant. It's easier to have negative thoughts. It's easier to beat ourselves up. Those are the thoughts that our brain is creating based on this hormone profile, along with my neurotransmitter profile. So if we look at my neurotransmitters, so you can tell that it tests my serotonin, my dopamine, my norepinephrine, my epinephrine, glutamate, GABA, etc. Right? The ones that I care about were the serotonin and the dopamine. They are in the green, but they're on the very low side of the green, which does not mean that's a good place to be. We want to be in the middle of this green column. So my serotonin and my dopamine are low. Then we get to my norepinephrine and my epinephrine, and they're extremely low. Okay? Same thing for my glutamate, and the other ones were okay. So the combination of me being estrogen dominant and low on serotonin, low on dopamine, and completely just very low on norepinephrine and epinephrine, it made sense why my brain was always wanting to go towards the negative. While it felt so big, emotions felt so big and so consuming, why rejection was so hard to overcome is that my brain was not supported with the right chemicals to help me. Like, we need serotonin to feel happy. We need dopamine to be motivated. And when you don't have those things, the brain cannot come up with those thoughts. It doesn't have those chemicals to fit those receptors to have those positive thoughts, to have those self-confidence thoughts. So you're working with a handicap. I mean, my norepinephrine and epinephrine being that low, those are the focus neurotransmitters. No wonder I could never focus. My brain was everywhere. It's like a squirrel, right? And I have this theory that people with ADHD, they have norepinephrine and epinephrine issues, right? Because that is required. I felt like I had ADHD, but it was just I was low on those. And when I started addressing those, I can focus now for hours. I don't have all these thoughts all the time and all this like changing. Just got to change, like new shiny thing all the time. Like I can focus. And what I love about this is this. This is what's like the gold. This tells me the root cause. I don't just have to go on medication to do symptom management. The red are the cofactors, okay? And the blue is the enzymes. Enzymes are more genetic, okay? It's harder to address the blue side. The red side, we find those in supplements and food. I can do that. You can do that. So if we see on mine here, my dopamine was low, which we need dopamine to convert into norepinephrine. Norepinephrine converts into epinephrine, right? If you don't have the proper amounts, it cannot convert. So then we had to go up to L-DOPA. So L-DOPA requires P5P as my cofactor to convert into DOPA. And so we just made a decision, like, I think we should go up. So we went up to tyrosine, okay? My body has to have tyrosine and these cofactors and this enzyme to convert into L-DOPA. Then from L-DOPA, we have another enzyme and cofactors that converts into dopamine. Then dopamine has more that converts into norepinephrine and then epinephrine. We went straight to the beginning, tyrosine. Okay, here's tyrosine. Here are the cofactors you need to convert tyrosine into L-DOPA so then it can go on down the chain. So then we got me supplements, P5P, iron, B4, and vitamin D to make sure that my body had adequate amount of those so it could support the conversion of this chain reaction. And then we also went over here to this side for serotonin. My serotonin's low. So we went up the chain on that guy and we went to the 5-HTP because we knew these, I already had these going on. So if we can supplement with 5-HTP, I should be able then to start converting well into serotonin. Sure enough, 2 weeks in, I take 5-HTP every night. I felt completely different. I was focusing. I wake up with energy. I'm not groggy in the morning. I sleep better. My brain is more positive. I've screwed up, but I was able to work through it within 48 hours. Before, it would be like a week, right? Even with thought work. So this is really just huge. It's huge. So the other test that comes in our program is adrenals. And I don't talk a lot about this, but this one, is all of us humans because adrenals have to do with stress. It's where our cortisol has to do with cortisol. And I knew because I had gone through so many trauma and divorce and losing my home and all this stuff, I knew back in 2015 that I was in adrenal fatigue. But we thought I was probably in phase 1, which is needs support, but we're fine. But based on this test, I was still in phase 2 of adrenal fatigue. And you can see on the chart here, I should be in the green. Like in the morning, it should be in this green here, really high. My cortisol is released so I can wake up and be alert. And then it kind of drops as the day progresses. Mine never got up except at noon. It got barely into the green at noon, dropped back down. So I only had energy for about 3 hours a day. The rest of the time, just tired and fatigued. But because we're CrossFitters and we do hard things, I could just grind through it. I want to live life. I want to do the things I want to do. So you just grind through it. That's not the case now. I have energy. I wake up with energy. I have energy throughout the day. I can work all day. I can go do CrossFit. I can come home, go work out in the garden, do what I need to, and then I start tapering down. It's just been such a huge game changer, and I think this is so important because I really believe this is what's going to help us with this mental illness epidemic, with people having so much anxiety and depression. Here's how we fix it. Our diets are shitty. Our food is not what it used to be. Our gut health isn't great. We're bombarded with toxins every day. Of course our body is not able to support healthy neurotransmitter levels, healthy hormone levels. It's not our fault. There's nothing wrong with you. There was nothing wrong with me, fundamentally, right? Like I wasn't born with like all these handicaps. It's just being a human in this world where we have so much toxins, we have such high stress, our water isn't great, our food isn't great, our body's having to just try to get rid of as much toxins as possible, and mine was backloaded, right? And it can't keep up. So then it impacts the whole system, and the neurotransmitters aren't where they need to be. My hormones aren't where they need to be, right? It impacts my mental health. It impacts the way I think and I feel. And then I create these thought patterns that are negative looping that creates more negative feelings, emotions, and health, right? And that's why this program has to have both. Addressing one doesn't fix the problem. Addressing both is where you see real results. It's where you start feeling better, you have more energy, you're more positive, you start achieving goals, creating results in your life that you actually want. You get to live the life you want. You are happier, more satisfied, feeling like you have purpose. That's the goal. This is what this program does. So I just wanted to go over those things so you guys could be aware of how much your neurotransmitters, how much your hormones, and how much your thoughts are impacting your life. As a coach, we believe, I came out of the life coach school, so life coaches are not all the same. We all have different, but from the life coach school, we truly believe that your thoughts create the results in your life. You have a thought, it creates an emotion, a chemical response. Our emotions drive us to action. Our actions create the results in our life. So if you want different results in your life, you have to have different thoughts. Our thoughts become our reality. Your reality is because of your thoughts. And if your thoughts aren't healthy, clean, and clear because of all this neurotransmitter hormone stuff, or because of social programming, let's be honest on that one, right? We live in a society that loves to program us and we're victims. No wonder we have the results we have in our life. No wonder we're unhappy. No wonder we're not satisfied. No wonder we're anxious. No wonder we live in fear. No wonder we're just unsatisfied with ourselves, with our partners, with our finances, with our careers. Like, we're just existing in life, just trying to survive. And that is not, I don't believe that not all humans are living like that. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. The things, the labels, the diagnoses you've been giving are just signposts to like, there's something wrong in the body. Let's fix it. It's like an iceberg, right? We get to the root cause, we fix it, things change, and they change rapidly, right? My life is completely different than it was before. I'm a completely different person than I used to be. And I cannot emphasize how much that addressing the root cause of the biochemical side and addressing the thoughts and the beliefs will drastically impact your life. You imagine your life where you felt energetic, where you felt satisfied, where you felt happy, where you could easily achieve your goals. You wanted to lose 20 pounds. It wasn't that hard. You did it. You wanted to go make more money. You did it. You wanted to do a career that brought you more satisfaction. You made that. I have a client. We worked one session, to help her get out of this career that she didn't want and create a different, work from home. She wanted a career that she could just work from home her own hours so she could travel with her husband. She did it in 1 week. 1 week. She changed her whole life. She's been wanting that for months. And in 1 week she did it and got it done. That's what I'm telling you guys. This is the power of this program. It will create changes rapidly because you start feeling better, you start thinking clearly, and you start shifting your beliefs. And once all of that starts aligning, you're unstoppable. You feel in control of your life. You feel empowered to create whatever results you want because you know now that the results come from your thoughts. Is it hard work? Yeah, it is. Because we have to look at ourselves and we have to own our shit. And we have to own the fact that we created our life to where we're at. But we don't judge ourselves. Coaching is all about creating a relationship with you, getting to know you and being compassionate towards you, knowing you did the best you could. I did the best I could for years. I did. It wasn't great, but I did the best I could. Do I do a hell of a lot better now? Absolutely. Yeah. But I've learned to heal the relationship with me. And when we heal the relationship with ourselves, our lives truly get to be magical then. And all the things that we've ever wanted are no longer dreams. They're within reach, and we go get them. So I wanted to just give you all of the stuff. I'm sorry the video is long, but I think this stuff is important. And if you guys have any questions, please DM me, please email me. You can find me my website, KimberlyJarmanCoaching.com. This program is called the New Beginnings Program. It starts every quarter, so September 1st, 2021 will be the next start date. And I'm just excited. If this sounds like something for you, if you're really have spent years, why is it so hard for me to be happy? Why is it so hard for me to create the results I want? Here's why. Here's your answers. I have your answers. I have the plan to help you get where you want to go. I can help you make changes. I've done it for myself. I've done it for my clients. I have the answers you've been looking for. So I will see you guys later.